first. So maybe next time, maybe the next game, because this is the best of 3 after all, right? So even if Stallions manage to take one game, or perhaps even AZ takes one game, they still gonna have to play the second game altogether.
Now we are here in our draft banning phase here. Now this is the Yuzhong ban. Usually right now is kind of frequent for the teams to taking this EXP lane hero, and now Yuzhong, especially on the other international MPLs here, is being also considered as one of the staple picks on the EXP lane. And now here on the other side, though, last ban coming in from the side of Stallions SG, which is they are going to prioritize the EXP here. CC also been taken down here. Most likely here when it comes to the last ban, it is going to be Alex.
Okay, so this is what we've got thus far, giving AZ the very first pick, and they've decided to pick up a Jusin for themselves. This also means that there is still quite a bit of heroes that is currently available. Yi Sun Shin, one of the important heroes, but I'm not too sure whether that is something that Stallions would explore into yet.
Okay, to be fair, the Yisun Shin right now is one of the, or not the best. There you go. The jungle pick, it is going to be taken in from the side of Stallions SG. Remember, the stats doesn't lie. Stallions SG loves to play it very aggressive, and having this 2 already into their hero pool here in the first phase of our draft can only show damage as well as harassment in the early stages of the game.
So if Yi Sun Shin currently in the fray for Stallions, that will definitely mean that they have the opportunity to play something like triple marksman, or perhaps even double side lane fighters. Now, looking at the fact that there is a Harif picked together with a Gato Kacha, it is relatively fair to say that they want to play for area denial, and that is something that Stallions would possibly want to explore into. Having a Phoveus into their mix would sound good, so that they can really deal with that Harif. Otherwise, they can look in some other directions, such as a Yve. As long as they try to contest for these kind of area denial strategies, I think that will work out for Stallions. Unless they have some other plans in mind.
Yeah, Eve can be one. However, you know, having a Gattacacha is going to be easily also to counter the Eve here. But
there we go.
This one, okay, they will go into the fact they're going to go for an aggressive counter actually here against the side of Absolute Zero. But Harith, Gattacacha, remember those AoE plus, of course, the Yujin control is in their side here compared to the side of Stallions SG. I think the part of the Stallions SG with this kind of lineup, they have to be aggressive when it comes to roam.
Do note that the CC has been banned out already. So there won't be a situation where we will see CC going up against the Harif in the gold lane. However, there is still a possibility, though, to see a Phoveus going up against the Harif in the gold lane, because the moment that we reach level 4, that is something that we can see Phoveus really just taking a brick right in the face of Harif.
Do you really think this is a great matchup for the Phoveus and the Harith here on the gold lane? They go for a 2-fighter side lane, right?
Yes,
anyway,
that is right.
They have the Yisun Shin already here on the side of Stallions SG. At least control the Harith if they are going to go for the Phoveus here. Anyway, the Assassin has been taken out. We have also the Linux here. If they want to go for a double marksman, but that is very greedy with the line here of Stallions SG. I think Harith is a great matchup. Rather, the Claude is a great matchup also to the Harith here, if I'm to say.
I think that right now they have quite a lot of ways to deny areas already with the Grok and the Yve. They need a little bit more damage, and generally, I will always say that Phoveus does deal very good damage, but in the meantime, that is not exactly a very Diablo hero, right? So I could definitely see Renza kind of putting himself in that shoes and be like, okay, give me the Phoveus. I'll go into the gold lane to really deal with that. However, the Esmeralda does yell Diablo to me.
Esmeralda is a great pick as well, especially against shield heroes. And now it will actually be great for the Esmeralda. But last year, a Nolan pick, the burst. Now they do have the burst, because looking at this lineup here is more of the DPS damage. Now they have the burst coming in from Nolan. I think this lacks the burst damage lacks on this draft, which now fills in with this Nolan pick.
So I will say that Stallions X Factor pick would the goal laner even be the X factor pick? Because at this point in time, the great thing about Nolan is that he excels in the early stages of the phase, or early stages of the game, right?
That's correct.
You're able to move around the map so fast that you would want to be ahead of the game, ahead of the opponent's junglers, and snowball from that point in time. Early game is the name of the game for AZ, and if they do not do that, oh wow!
I didn't expect that pick.
No, not for me as well.
I didn't expect that pick here coming in from Stallions SG.
So it's an Esmeralda Gold.
Well,
It is an Esmeralda Gold.
well, it is. Diablo, Martis. Have you seen Diablo played Martis?
Yes, actually.
EXP?
EXP, yeah. I don't know where he's pulling all these cards from, but if you think about it, having Esmeralda in the goal lane, going up against a Harif is not too shabby.
Yep.
You're not gonna pose a significant threat to the Harif, but at least you will be able to you'll be able to survive in the lane, just so that you don't feed over to the Harif.
Oh, wow.
So Harif would just be on a very standard curve. You would not grow exponentially. He would just grow gradually based on the timing of the game.
That is correct. But however, having this matchup here, I think the main role coming in from Esmeralda here, Abstract, is just to control this Harith here, progression into the game. But remember, the Nolan pick, they countered here with the Martis. I think the side of Stallions SG, if you want to play it aggressive, we can do it better. We can do it more aggressively here. Remember, that's a Grok. That's a Martis. And we have also a Yisun Shin here. Very snowballing heroes, which only shows here they want to end the game as early as possible. But will they be able to do it though?
I think that the main direction that they have to look out for first is to shut down the Nolan. So invasion tactics coming in from Team Stallions is actually going to be so important, just so that they can slow down the pacing of Nolan. Like I said before, Nolan has got exceptional mobility, especially after taking up the purple buff. You can literally just slide throughout your entire jungle, clear them so fast, and be able to appear in the gold lane and, you know, put a lot of pressure down. So that is also the reason why being a fielding an Esmeralda in the gold lane is also a good idea, just so that you don't feed either the Harif or the Nolan.
Or the Nolan it is, because of course Esmeralda is tanky as hell as well, so she can hold the lane on this side of the map. However, of course, you mentioned, of course, to control the Nolan in this sense, but having a Grok on your side, having a Martis on this side, this is very brawly trap coming in from the side of Stallions SG. Now I have some kind of not doubts, and questioning myself as well. Is this enough though to control the Nolan? Because you mentioned also mobility-wise, it has the advantage here against the side of the Grok, against the side of the Martis as well.
Yeah. So all in all, this for the Nolan, just because of the fact that there's a Nolan, the power spike of the team at AZ is roughly about 7 minutes or so. If the power spike from Nolan actually works out, they should be able to dictate the pace of the game for much longer than we expected, because every single part and every single phase, you have Nolan that reaches his power spike first. And then shortly afterwards, you'll be able to see the... who is that? Okay, so Jusin. We don't have to care too much about Jusin, mostly coming in for the utility. Uranus will start to go a little bit more annoying in the mid stages of the game. Alas, not damagey kind of annoying us, but it's more on the fact that he's able to soak in so much damage, and he will be able to build up an Oracle at the very least at that point in time, and one more defensive item. So soaking and defensive defensive capabilities, no problem. In order to really allow the Harith to go a little bit more crazy later on.
Yeah, the only, for me, the only advantage as well when it comes to a draft coming in from Stallions SG is they have a natural marksman there.
Yes.
That is going to be the Yisun Shin. This is going to be their insurance in the later stage of game. However, on the other side though, it's a little bit tricky, because you need a snowball, of course, time here for the side of the Harith. They mentioned the snowball coming in from Nolan as well. Remember, when it comes to later stage of game, Nolan's damage is not going to be an impact anymore. So you need those kills, you need those feeds, you need those progression in the early stage of the game. Now, when it comes to control, more pressure is on the Absolute Zero.
Yeah. Now, my problem when it comes down to AZ's lineup is that they are now currently playing dive to dive.
Yes.
So they have a very nice, I would say a very nice formation in some sense, right? They have a nice marching formation. They will always have the Harris somewhere in the middle of the formation. You will have got the Gatokacha that is on the mid together as the anchor, right? Because you'll want to come in with a secondary follow-up. A follow-up when it comes down to the AOG.
That's correct.
With Uranus being the main initiator. Because you don't really initiate with the Uranus, but you go in, say hi, bye, hi. So there's a lot of staggering involved between the Gatokacha as well as the Uranus. So that is the main idea of their game. But it's not gonna matter too much if the Esmeralda is constantly gonna be in your face. With the Martis that is taking the role of the Gatokacha playing as the anchor, coming in for his execute at any point in time in the game whenever he sees a possibility to do that.
Now I'm trying to imagine how this brawl works here. When it comes to initiation, Absolute Zero has this. I mean, you mentioned already the Harith can do the initiation, even in the Gatokacha, but of course, Gatokacha, usually you use the AOG as a follow-up on this one.
Yes.
There's no hard CC whatsoever we are seeing on the side of Absolute Zero, but when it comes to AoE team fight capabilities, they have this advantage, especially for neutral fights later on. Turtle, they do have so much, of course, kit here into their draft. However, on the other side, surprises, the Martis can burst you down. Also on the other side here, the Yusin Shin, if it has the early game items, can also burst you down. And the Crack also is the threat here when it comes to invasion against Absolute Zero.
So with that all said and done, we are going into game with Absolute Zero onto the blue side and Team Stallions SG onto the red side. We're not going to mention too much about on-site situations, and we're not going to really mention too much about positions and such. But we are going on really sharp from Team Stallions as they immediately went in with Bray, picking up the first blood onto Bougie. And this is exactly what we said that they needed to do with early invasions, just so that they will be able to stop, or rather to slow down the growth of Fate Cutie.
Oh man, this is a bad sign already. 2 kills under 2 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Stallions SG, as expected, numbers doesn't lie. This is one of the aggressive teams right now, and having these 2 kills to their favor, it will really snowball their position against Absolute Zero. And remember, the draft coming in from Absolute Zero relies also for a snowbally lineup.
And with that all said, with 2 kills already in the bag for Team Stallions this early on, it is not definitely going to help that Nolan at all, with the fact that Nolan actually doesn't have a lot of targets, right? But Rensa comes in from absolute nowhere. This guy is a gold laner, but he's moving like an XP laner.
Insane rotations, and now the fight will broke here once again.
As now, Fate Cutie was looking for the opportunity to get a kill down on Diablo. However, with the Diablo quickly flickering out of the case, he's going to be fine. But unfortunately, he's right in the face of Nomad. As such, Nomad will bring him down, but that is going to be a trade from the side of from Bray. Vendetta flickers himself right out of the way, hoping that he'll be able to stay alive a little while longer. But that's not gonna be the case.
OMG, what sorcerer is this? All members here for the side of Team South SG is on the bottom side of the map, leaving the Harith alone on the top side. They are going to prioritize here the turtle buff instead, but it will be mitigated by the side of Bougie. But look at this one, 6 kills, doesn't care anymore for the lane here. Instead, the gold plates are still there. Team Stallions here, their rotations are insane.
At this point, we do have Absolute Zero that have got a priority over the turtle. Diablo is definitely going to be coming in, but unfortunately, but never mind. Large charge coming in from Losing Cutie is more than enough to be able to knock a couple of them up to the sky, allowing Diablo picking up a double to get a single dunk, going on for the next dunk of the Nomad, but that would activate Revitalize, allowing Nomad to still stay alive. No more dunks for Diablo though, but he might still be able to pick up a triple for himself, but Nomad's surviving for a long time. Bougie takes up a single kill. Losing Cutie takes that kill off of Diablo's hands as the fight slowly extends even further and longer. Losing Cutie a little bit too far in, allowing Fate Cutie to pick up a kill onto a lonesome Losing Cutie.
Oh man, very aggressive Team Stallions, but they have, of course, overstepped their boundaries. This is still under 4 minutes. The respawn time is too early for the side of Absolute Zero to respond on such team fights. But then again, you can see already here, Team Stallions SG, they want to end it early here, Abstract. They are in for the kills. They are in to control the early stages of the game.
They just need to have more than enough lead and advantage over the Nolan, which I think that they are doing a very good situation right now, right? They're doing a good job. With Nolan currently at 2,400 gold and Bray, the Yi Sun Shin at 2,200 gold. They are only 200 gold apart. Normally by this point in time, Nolan will want to get at least 3 kills with no death and will at least be about 500 to 700 gold ahead of the opponent's jungler.
But it is not the situation right now here because Team Stallions SG is dictating the tempo. We are actually expecting, right, Abstract, that Nolan will be very scary, especially on a dangerous grass map. He will go for this pick of plays. But then again, look at Team Stallions SG. They are everywhere here. They want fights. And speaking of which, here in the middle lane as well, will be brewing for one again.
I don't think the Fit Cutie have got a very good entrance as he doesn't have a lot of entrance. And now we got a flicker coming in from Lucid Cutie. He managed to find Fit Cutie and will slay him down almost immediately. With no junglers for this upcoming turtle fight, the entirety of Team Stallions is all around here. It's 5v4, pushing everyone else away. With that, Mountain Shocker activates. More than enough to see everyone from the side of Absolute Zero. While, of course, Rensa does his absolute best to push away the juice in, while the rest of Team Stallions collapses themselves onto Nomad.
OMG, look at the protection, look at the space being given here. The formation coming into Team Stallions, really difficult for Absolute Zero to penetrate through. And we are having 15 kills solo here in 5-minute mark of our game. This is total mayhem we are expecting here. And now Team Stallions SG is just showing here that they can really end the game as early as possible here. Snowball game. And look at the side here, rather, of the Eve. 307 on the mage. It's going to be scary.
We're currently 5 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. Oh, wait, hold on a second. AOG almost catching up Roy, but that's not going to be the case right now. Rensa, being as annoying as a little cockroach in the wind, puts himself right in the face of Silence, stealing all of the shields, and he came out with full HP.
Stealing, of course, the blue buff as well.
Oh my god.
Absolute Zero. This is really a bad sign. And now Nomad here trying his best to give the space and then be able to take the blue buff here in the hands of Absolute Zero. And look at this one, man. The progression coming in from the EXP. It is now going to be a first item coming in from Diablo. Oh, this is another team fight here.
They collapses themselves onto Nomad, but Revitalize is going to be fine. But there is going to be the wild charge going on that will stop that fight for a tad little bit. With a quick little push, it disengages the entirety of Absolute Zero, making sure that Diablo stays alive.
Now it is going to be now the space again for Absolute Zero. Match badly needed here. They need, of course, to play it safe for now because they are beginning to respond all of these aggressive plays coming in from Team Stallions SG. All of the lanes here being controlled by Team Stallions SG. Absolute Zero become reactive at this moment in time. Oh, they want some kills as well. Lucian QT out of position though, trying to back away. And now on the other side, Esmeralda all alone.
I don't think that Rensa will be able to stay alive for much. Never mind. With a flicker and, of course, the Nature's Barrier. They manages to do a quick stop. Fit Cutie attempts to go for the assassination on Rensa, but that's an Esmeralda.
Oh, man. Even the burst damage is not enough here to pick off that Esmeralda. It is now the sign that Nolan needs match itemizations still here in the game. Absolute Zero on the verge here on the defense. And now the push coming in from the side of Team South SG. Invasion as well in the blue buff. Oh, this is very important. They managed to steal.
They did. They did.
They managed to do so.
Fit Cutie is nowhere to be seen in his own purple buff. That will mean that the movements of Fit Cutie is going to be at an all-time low. This also means that Fit Cutie is now in a very difficult spot to be able to apply any form of pressure.
And now Vendetta, we're looking for this EXP laner as well to find the space, but look at the damage coming in from Bray here on the Eastern Sheen as well. Now all the progression we are now witnessing coming in from Team Stallions is on a point. Pressure here on the bottom side as well. And look at the rotations coming in from Team Stallions SG. Prioritizer on the top side.
With a free turret down in the bottom lane with Lucid Cutie with a flicker as well as a wild charge. AOG comes in right to the backside to really deal with Bray. However, he's now finding himself completely pincered out, unable to do too much, while Roy's RWM will cut off the escape route of Absolute Zero. However, they still manage to find themselves in an opportunity to get themselves away, but that is only just going to be a zoning tool to allow Team Stallions to pick up themselves the T2 up in the top lane.
Remember what we have talked about, the trap here, Abstract, Absolute Zero is a snowbally trap here, but so far right now, we are seeing Team Stallion just taking control 100% all the time when it comes to a team fight. We haven't seen Absolute Zero get a kill. They are stuck in 4 kills here under 9-minute mark, and this will still be not enough here for them to pick up anything here against Team Stallions SG.
The lack of damage is not gonna help Absolute Zero get anywhere. Unfortunately, this is the reality of your lineup. It requires that Nolan to really pop off in the early stages. However, because of the fact that Team Stallions knew about that priority and knew about that caveat, they went in so early and they applied so much pressure.
Look at the attention coming in from Esmeralda here. All of the players on the top side, but then again, the rest here, Team Stallions going for the splits on the Lord. No contest whatsoever. They're on points. This is going to be incredibly difficult for Absolute Zero to fend off this siege later on. And look at Renza here just dancing around, just absorbing all the damage.
Doesn't seem like Buji will be able to do too much right now, but the main thing is they're actually going to be completely choked out. He gets himself with a Crimson Beacon out of there while they lose themselves the T2 turret in the middle. The rest of Team Stallions have managed to stagger and zone themselves away from the Absolute Zero just so that they don't give any needless kills.
No more outer turrets here available for the side of Absolute Zero, while the Lord is now marching through as well, prioritizing the top side of the map. All are ready here beside the Team Stallions. They are eager to kill without the Lord.
Diablo wanted to go for an opening, trying to catch on to Salas. But that's not going to be the case, as even though it was the Zaman's Force that's already been dropped out, that is the Zaman Force that is on cooldown now, with a massive amount of damage that's unavailable for Absolute Zero. I don't think that they will be able to defend this this upcoming launch push, as the AOG lands onto Roy, but that is not going to be on the RWM at all, as that is going to be a 4-man wild charge, more than enough for them to pick up 3 kills in total, leaving just Bougie as well as Salas, while the top lane T3 is taken down. Salas finds a kill down on Lucid Cutie. That's not all. Picks up a double. They should be able to repel this push coming from Team Stallions. However, the middle lane is still inching in closer and closer over to their doorstep.
Oh my goodness, what a beauty on that wall charge. Everyone was in the air on the team fight. Team Stallions here managed to take down 2 inhibitor turrets against the side of Absolute Zero. This is now incredibly difficult for Absolute Zero to come back again. They are snowball a team. How will you be able to climb back here into this game? Look at the accusations that we have right now here. Oh, the Nolan rather here. We have seen the Malefic Roar, Hunter Strike, even in the Heptasis here, but the first damage is not enough right now here.
Unfortunately, Nolan is out of the game. He's not going to be too much of a critical hero at this point at 12 minutes with, of course, 8.5 thousand gold difference, right? So the next hero that we gotta have to look out for is the Harith, which have already got the Stallion Scythe, the Feather of Heaven, and the Holy Crystal. It's great that Salas managed to pick up 2 kills in that previous fight. However, none of those kills were bounty kills, so it doesn't help him too much. But speaking of Diablo, he's actually right in the face of No Man. We do have the Nature's Barrier that managed to pull the Vendetta in a off position with Bougie going down. Fake Cutie manages to actually get a kill down on the Bray. That's actually pretty darn big. He should get himself with a 1-4-3 trade. Absolute Zero still in a tough spot. However, Salas, he wants to go for an opportunity, but he will drop down the Zaman's Force. This will slow people in the side of Team Stallions, but they don't have any form of crowd control or area denial from this point. RWM, pop-up from Roy. He will be able to clear out the entire waves coming in from Absolute Zero, but the rest of Team Stallions, they focus on the core. Takes game 1.
There you go. The heart of the champion, ladies and gentlemen. Team Stallions SG showing us how to be aggressive, how to control the game, and how to win with finesse. That was incredible here against the side of Absolute Zero Game 1, and now we are witnessing here the beauty, the performance of Team Stallions SG.
In some sense, the lineup from the side of Absolute Zero forced an early game on Team Stallions SG's hands.
Yep.
They need to do something about it, and they pulled the trigger fast. It worked out great. It slowed down slowed down Nolan, and when it comes down to the lineup itself, it also doesn't help Nolan that he actually don't have a priority target. He can go for Yusunshin. However, they don't exactly have a roamer that allows them to open up the maps and find Yusunshin that easily.
Yeah, plus, of course, the Nolan is a little bit tricky. You need that hard control as well. I haven't seen a single target hard control, because, of course, you have a dangerous crash, right? It is one of the advantage of those assassin-y one-shot type of hero, which is Nolan is one.
Yep.
But you need, of course, you mentioned the roamer here. I was looking for Franco as well. It's a hard CC,
yes,
just trying to go for a pick-off here. But they're looking for a bigger picture here. Remember, the combination of the Harith and the Garakacha is not pretty bad, to be honest. It's pretty good when it comes to 5v5 AoE damage, lots of control, but then again, they have been surprised at how very aggressive Team Stallions is. Damage-wise, again, Brock, you have as well the Yusunshin. Even though it is early game here, packs a punch with the critical damage.
I think one of the other problems when it comes down to AZ's draft is that they are looking for a draft that is able to pivot to two different heroes, which unfortunately didn't quite work very well for Nolan. But, we'll talk about that in a short bit as the MVP of the game goes over to Roy, piloting the Yve that managed to get a total of 3 kills, no death, and 13 assists.
Yeah, actually, you called this one abstract the Eve Pig, but I was actually in doubt here because the other side has the Garakacha. It's going to be easy for the Garakacha to pick off the Eve on the back line. But
and
then
cancel the RWM too.
It can, and now, however, there's a Grok on your face, there's a Martis in your face. It's really difficult, but you have to do is defend your front line here, and that Garakacha has no means, of course, to go for forward attack here, but instead protect the core members of the team.
So, of course, we've got the entire emblem sets that you can see from both Absolute Zero and Team Stallions SG's side. We, of course, have been talking quite a bit about how the way, Team Stallions kind of initiate, so on and so forth. But one thing that I actually find pretty darn interesting is the fact that Diablo actually got 7 kills out of that.
Yeah, killing spree as well. And remember here, with his aggressive plays we've seen so far, great combination with Lucian QT as well on their rotations.
Focusing mark.
Man, it is incredibly, the damage wise here just surpasses Absolute Zero when it comes to their scaling here. And now Salah's pretty good on his Aerith. He managed to actually control the lane here, but we have seen Renza when it comes to team fight going from one side of the map to the other. He knows the rotation here. They need to be aggressive, sacrificing his lane, but then again, it's pretty good, and the outcome is pretty good for the side of Team Stallions SG.
As much as I would love to see the Juicin be able to apply quite a bit of pressure in the early game, because she's just waving her lantern right in the face of any possible attackers, right? But it doesn't really quite stop Diablo, Roy, Renza, literally anyone from Team Stallions from rushing right in. We saw exactly that happen. In fact, Bougie is afraid because of how close Team Stallions get into the face of Absolute Zero. Yes, Juicin wants to be close combat in order to really land all of your lanterns, but they're a little bit too close for comfort.
And now this is the stats I am looking forward here to see the damage being dealt here by the side of Team Stallions here. As you can see, it's just damage dealt here from Bray actually is pretty good here, and Roy having the most damage here with his AoE capability. But I'm surprised. I thought Lucian Cutie's of course Grok deals so much, but the well charged actually helps when it comes to a team fight. Those knockups, the incredible team fight that we have witnessed so far. On the other side here, look at the damage dealt coming in from this team. This is pretty much lacking here, especially for the side here of Fade QT. We are expecting, of course, his snowball in the early stage of game, but it doesn't really go into that way. We are expecting him to have so many kills, but instead he was being suppressed here.
All in all, Team Stallions, they have a menacing lineup that really deals with Absolute Zero to allow them to end the game at sub 13 minutes. And that is almost a 10,000 goal lead, alright? Almost. To be specific, 8,000 goal lead. And for an 8,000 goal lead in a 13 minutes game is not too shabby. The fact that they managed to close the game out like that, that's good.
That's good indeed. And this is still the game one. And remember, best of 3 series.
Yeah.
Absolute Zero still have a chance. However, this is an elimination match, so pressure is there. Game 1 already. Pretty good performance coming in from the side of Team Stallions SG. Will they be able to continue here?